Yes, hello, I am James Rowlands, and today it's WNR312, and we are bringing you a wrestling roundup. We've got the WWE Draft on Raw and Smackdown, NXTUK with the Heritage Cup starting, NXT Takeover, and of course AEW celebrating 30 years of Chris Jericho and the 1 year anniversary of AEW Dynamite, plus Impact as well. But let's get started. And first and foremost, this was not the original plan for the episode. We were going to have Jamie from Unimatrix Gaming joining us. Of course, we enjoyed playing on the PlayStation, the N64. Unfortunately, he has broke his collarbone. I don't know why I'm laughing. Maybe just deal with the tragedy of it. And he will be unable to play games until the new year. But don't you worry about that. The WNR, as soon as he's up and ready, we'll be playing again. Of course, having videos on YouTube as well. But let's begin with the WWE Draft. Of course, this has been a thing since 2002. And, thoughts about the draft? I mean, ever since it happened, of course, it's trying to be separate, Raw and Smackdown. And I think this is the thing, due to the kind of dropping the ball of WCW, they had to create their own kind of competition. And I think when you first have kind of Bischoff and Stephanie as general managers, it brought a little bit something to it. But the draft was never really that exciting, because no matter what happened, it always kind of stayed the same. There was a few examples of champions switching brands. Of course, John Cena coming to Raw as WWE champion, but usually they're not. It's bait and switch. But there's always a kind of hope that they're going to sort it out, with the rosters. And of course, we'll talk about the draft, from it. But let's get started. And it was the October 9th episode of Friday Night Smackdown. And Stephanie McMahon started on the stage making the first 5 picks. Raw gets 3, Smackdown gets 2, because Raw is 3 hours. And WWE Champion Drew McIntyre drafted to Raw. Universal Champion Roman Reigns drafted to SmackDown. Raw Women's Champion Asuka drafted to Raw. Seth Rollins drafted to SmackDown. The Hurt Business drafted by Raw. Not really many surprises there. Of course, McIntyre staying with Roman Reigns as well. And of course, Asuka, I think on Raw, is a better pick. Seth Rollins to SmackDown. Well, at that time, it seemed quite exciting, because obviously a bit of a change, moving away from Dominic and Rey Mysterio. And the Hurt Business have been on Raw throughout their run. We hear from Seth Rollins about coming to SmackDown. He said it was never about the name, it's the message that mattered. So of course he is no longer going to be the Monday Night Messiah. A greater good move into Friday night. And then we had a Falls Count Anywhere match, Big E versus Sheamus. This was a cracking match between these two. Of course, this feud has been going on for a little while now. And Big E, there's been rumours and talk of him getting a push. And this is the kind of first steps, I feel, to that. It was a really, really great match. I mean, both men suffering a lot of cuts and a lot of damage going through, of course, the parking lot area, catering and everywhere else. Bit out of the way of a bro kick, and Sheamus took the trunk door off. Big E counted a powerbomb onto the car windshield, and Sheamus just slides off. Big E was completely bloody back, throws Sheamus onto the windscreen, breaking it, then hits a big ending off the car through some tables for the win. So quite a dramatic finish there. But of course we saw it Hell in a Cell as well, with McIntyre taking the damage on the windscreen, and now Big E and of course others in AEW. Is this the risk they're willing to take? We see Jey Uso making his way to the ring, but we see Big E backstage. Before we can say anything, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods make their returns. They embrace him. Woods says they're missing the WWE World Tag Team Championship. Big E looks exhausted and hugs him. Like we said, Jey Uso is in the ring and wondering what the stipulation is going to be. Roman Reigns doesn't come out. Uso said it doesn't matter because he's ready for it. Paul Heyman appears on screen. Hellman tells him to stop embarrassing himself. The champion will appear at his discretion and leisure. Anyone SmackDown, both tenured and coming from Raw, applaud Uso's ambition. It's necessary for survival of the island of relevancy, and those who get too ambitious want to come up against the champ. Here's what happens when you step into the ring against the reigning, defending, undisputed Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. And then we find out it is going to be the first ever I Quit match inside Hell in a Cell. Reigns says, I love you, but after you say I quit, there will be consequences. And Roman Reigns has just been fired since becoming heel. And then we see Stephanie coming out again. She announces there will be a title match with the New Day taking on Cesaro and Nakamura for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. We see AJ Styles drafted to Raw, Banks to SmackDown, Naomi to Raw, Bianca Belair to SmackDown, and the Women's Tag Team Champions Jax and Baszler to Raw. We see The Miz and John Morrison versus Jeff Hardy and Matt Riddle. We see Riddle and Miz tagging. Riddle takes Miz down and calls in the head for hitting a 1 a T-bone suplex. Riddle hits Miz with a running forearm, takes it down for a Broton. Riddle hits a Bridging German suplex, but Morrison breaks it up. Hardy hits Morrison with a Twist of Fate. Miz throws Hardy out the ring and turns into a knee from the face for Riddle. And then he hits a Bro Derek for the win. But then, Lars Sullivan makes his return after being gone a year and a half. And he runs through Hardy and Riddle, clubbing and slamming them down. And then he hits him with the freak accident. That's what we need here in the draft. We need Lars Sullivan returning. Our next draft picks, we get Ricochet drafted to Raw, Jey Uso to SmackDown, Mandy Rose to Raw, Reign Dominic Mysterio to SmackDown, The Miz and Morrison drafted to Raw. So there we go. After we think Rollins going to get a fresh start, looks like they're going to continue the Ray and Dominic with him. We're going to get SmackDown Women's Championship, Banks versus Bayley. And of course, they brawl right away. Bayley quickly gets out of the ring, so she's done with Banks. Banks grabs her and gets in the ring. They trade pins for Bayley attacks the next, take her down. Banks got an electric chair, takes her down and applies the Banks statement. Bayley quickly moves her body to get foot on the rope. Bayley gets out of the ring and soon hits Banks in the ribs with a steel chair. But then Banks angrily attacks Bayley with a chair, slamming it on the back. She then puts the chair around Bayley's neck and goes to the second rope. Bayley quickly gets out of the ring before Banks can get it. Referees run down, and of course Bayley and Banks separated. Looks like they'll be building up towards Hell in a Cell. And then the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, Cesaro Nakamura versus A New Day. We see Cesaro starting up the Cesaro swing and Nakamura with a Kinshasa. Woods holds his leg before he can though. Kingston gets out and hits Cesaro with a Trouble in Paradise. Nakamura quickly kicks Kingston down for a 2 count. Woods tags in. Kingston hits Nakamura with Trouble in Paradise. Wood goes to the top, hits a diving elbow, and wins the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. A New Day yet again. And then we get the last selection drafts of the evening. SmackDown Tag Team Champions Kofi Kingston and Woods drafted to Raw. Big E drafted to SmackDown. Dana Brooke to Raw. Otis to SmackDown. And Gail Garza to Raw. And there you go. The New Day have split up and they look devastated in the ring as we see it. And then we get The Fiend versus Kevin Owens in our main event. The Fiend and Owens are having a hell of a brawl as they pull outside the ring. Owen attacks and goes for a pop-up powerbomb on the commentary table, but they mistime it. Owens then hits him with a powerbomb and collapses the table and gets the Fiend in the ring. He applies mandible claw, so Owens hits a stunner. The Fiend no-sells it and keeps the mandible claw applied before hitting another one-arm slam. The Fiend then covers Owens for the win. The lights go out when they come back on. The Fiend is face-to-face with Alexa Bliss. The high-pitched scream is heard. They look ramp at the broken Kevin Owens in the ring. So, folks, after night one, well, not many surprises there, really. Apart from the New Day being split up now, there's a lot of reaction about this, people being kind of unhappy. Is it the time to... The New Day, at this moment in time, can always come together, can't they, at some point down the line. If they want to focus on Big E, as long as they're not completely changed the character, I think there's some momentum by his side. At this moment, I'm not too upset about it, but it is a kind of anti-climax. So we start with Monday Night Raw, which was October 12th. We get Todd Phillips. Welcome to the Thunderdome, recapping Raw's editions. Today, Randy Orton comes out, and he says he's going to take Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship at Hell in a Cell, because this feud is, of course, never ending, as we know. Orton says that Drew hadn't been pinned in almost a year, and of course he pinned him in 6-man tag team action the previous week. McIntyre interrupts Orton. He confirms Orton is right about the fact that he pinned him, but instead of punting him after, he gloated and he said, when I kicked you in the skull at Clash of Champions, that was for everyone you screwed over, but Hell in a Cell, all the suffering I cause you for me. He said he made a promise last week that every time they were in the same building together, he was going to kick the crap out of Orton. And then McIntyre rushed to the ring and they brawl. Both men trade shots, and outside McIntyre backdrops Orton to the announce desk, throws him back in the ring, but Orton slithers off. And then we get Stephanie McMahon making the first round picks, and The Fiend is going to Monday Night Raw alongside Randy Orton and Charlotte, and SmackDown is getting Bayley, the Raw Tag Team Street Profits. We get Kevin Owens versus Aleister Black in a no DQ match. Of course, these two men have been feuding for a while now. Not a bad match between the two. We get Black grabbing a table that was set up early and puts it in the ring. Owens to the outside. Black goes for the Black Mass, but his foot hits the post. Owen then throws Black in the ring, hits a stunner, followed by a powerbomb through the table for the win. We're then back with Stephanie, who says Raw will get Roman, Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy. SmackDown will get Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens. And then we get a Miz TV segment. Of course, Miz and John Morrison part of Monday Night Raw now. Our next bit of draft picks are Raw getting Retribution, Keith Lee and Alexa Bliss. SmackDown getting Lars Sullivan and King Corbin. Then we get Seth Rollins coming out to say his farewell to Raw. He says tonight is the end of an era. It saddened me to say that no, if anybody can fill his shoes. And then Rollins says it won't be Dominic or Rey Mysterio because unfortunately they've also been drafted to SmackDown. Rollins is interrupted by Jeff Hardy. Rollins says be focusing on the match with Lars Sullivan. And Rollins says good luck and tries to leave. AJ Styles comes out, makes fun of Hardy, but Hardy takes out Rollins and Styles with a dive. He says he's going to prove that Raw is in good hands and challenges Rollins and Styles to a triple threat match after the break. Looks like it's going Rollins' way as he goes for a stomp on Styles, but Hardy jumps off the Styles' back. Lands the DDT on Rollins for 2. Hardy to the top, but Styles crotches him. Rollins and Styles on the shoulders, but gets reversed. Rollins in the calf crusher, but AJ has to release. Hardy takes advantage with a swan top on Rollins for 2. All 3 men are down. Styles go for the Styles clash, but it gets reversed by Hardy into a twist of fate. Out of nowhere, Elias shows up and hits Hardy with a guitar. Styles takes advantage and pins Hardy for the 3. We're going to see Stephanie making selections around 4. On Raw, Elias, Lacey Evans and Sheamus. On SmackDown, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke fucking Nakamura and Cesaro. We're going to get Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke versus Lana and Natalya. Rose with a suplex to Lana on a clothesline. She then hits a pump knee and tags in Brooke, who hits the senton off Rose's shoulders for the win. We get Angel Garza versus Andrade. Andrade goes for the hammerlock DDT, but it's countered as Andrade hits the apron. Garza then throws on the ring, hits a wing clipper for the victory. And then our next picks for Raw are Nikki Cross, R-Truth and Dabba-Kato. On SmackDown, Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode and Apollo Crews. Quite a good segment on Raw as well. Backstage was a New Day and the Street Profits. Of course, they've been drafted to separate brands. And they just decided to swap the titles. And of course, the titles on the line as a New Day face Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Roode picks up Woods, but gets hit with Insecurity. In Inga tags in Kingston, but Ziggler interferes. He tries to throw Kingston to the steps, but Kingston jumps over, then jumps off the steps the other way and takes out Ziggler. Roode rolls up Woods, but Kingston makes a blind tag on the top rope. Woods sets up Roode for the midnight hour for the 3. Elias is asked why he took out Hardy. He says because Hardy hit him with a car. And then, remember that angle? We then get Cedric Alexander versus Ricochet. Of course, this started out earlier with Ricochet loses. He'll have to join the Hurt Business. MVP slides the chair into the ring, but Ricochet takes it. Instead of hitting Alexander, he throws his chair in and pretends he was one that got hit. A la Eddie Guerrero. As a result, Ricochet doesn't have to deal with the Hurt Business anymore, and it is over. We then get Stephanie saying Titus O'Neil, Peyton Royce and Akira Tozawa to Raw. SmackDown will get Carmella and Aleister Black. And then we have a multi-brand battle royal to number 1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship. While the final 4 are Riot Squad, Evans and Natalya. Natalya eliminates the Riot Squad. The final 2 are Evans and Natalya. Strikes back and forth. They're both over the top on the apron. Evans hits Natalya, who falls but keeps her hand on the bottom rope. Evans with a head scissors to Natalya, but Natalya tosses off the post and out. But hold on, Lana was never eliminated. She put the apron and wins. And then we were back to Orton and McIntyre. They continue to brawl as they're held apart as we go off air. So that was Monday Night Raw, and it wasn't too bad. The Owens Aleister Black match was good. A bit surprised at the end. Of course, Lana getting a victory, but did the draft really do anything? Let's have a look at the full results then. Raw, the men, there was 23 men drafted in the end. Drew McIntyre, WWE Champion. Bobby Lashley, United States Champ. R-Truth, 24/7 Champion. AJ Styles, The Fiend. Randy Orton, Braun Strowman, Matt Riddle, Jeff Hardy, Keith Lee, Ricochet, Elias, Sheamus, Angel Garza, Gulak, Tucker, Dabba-Kato, Titus O'Neil, Akira Tozawa, Riddick Moss, Aretha Ras, and Eric. Not too bad, really. You know, look at McIntyre and Orton. Where's it going to go next? You've got The Fiend, who, of course, can be a face or a heel in a story with Alexa Bliss. And will they maybe carry on the Braun Strowman feud in that way? And where does Braun go from here as well? With the women, there are 8 of them. Asuka, WWE Raw Women's Champion. Charlotte Flair, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross, Peyton Royce. I guess Alexa Bliss might be feuding with Asuka somewhere down the line. But, of course, Peyton Royce at the moment is doing quite well. Men's tag teams or factions, you've got the New Day, Raw Tag Team Champions, the Hurt Business, Miz and Morrison, Retribution and Lucha House Party. And then women's tag teams, Baszler and Jax, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. So all in all, not too bad. I mean, a couple of weird questions. If Retribution are causing Raw so much trouble, why would they draft them? And also, can they find a place for Jeff Hardy and Matt Riddle and Braun Strowman as well? But I think there's enough talent in there to do them well. SmackDown, men. Roman Reigns, Universal Champion, Sami Zayn, IC Champ, Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, Big E, Aleister Black, Apollo Crews, Otis Murphy, Kalisto, Lars Sullivan, King Corbin, Shorty G. And then got women, Bayley, SmackDown Women's Champion, Banks, Bianca Belair, Carmella, Natalya, Zelina Vega, Billie Kay and Tamina. And then tag teams with Street Profits, of course, the tag team champions, Cesaro, Nakamura, Ziggler and Rude, Ray and Dominic Mysterio. And then the Riot Squad. Undrafted, Andrade, Mickey James, not in draft pools, Becky Lynch, Jim Uso, Ivers, Deville, Edge, Mahal, Joe, Rawley, Forgotten Sons, Bo Dallas, Big Show, Cena, Goldberg, Ronda Rousey, The Undertaker. Some of them you know why, some of them they just don't care about. All in all, wasn't a bad draft, but I don't really think is anything truly excitable really in any. And we'll just move on to the episode of SmackDown that we have just had this past Friday. We started off with Jeff Hardy versus Lars Sullivan. Not a bad match. A freak threw him across the ring and hit a sliding clothesline for a quick 2 count. Hardy rolled out the way to avoid a huge splash from top rope and unloaded a flurry of right hands. Hardy dropped him with a twist of fate, but Sullivan was back up before he could hit a swanton. He grabbed Hardy and hit the freak accident for the win. Renee versus Cesaro, Sheamus and Nakamura. And of course this was the New Day's farewell. So was able to take the big man down, but attack to Woods allowed the New Day to hit double team for 2 count. Next few minutes saw both teams trade big moves back and forth. Woods and E hit Midnight Hour for the pin and the win. They embraced in the middle of the ring to celebrate this victory. I mean, a lot of fans are getting upset WWE's breaking up the group, but giving them one last match together was a nice gesture. Let's hope this can work out for them. I mean, these are guys who were floundering 6 years ago and now become one of the greatest teams in WWE history. We get Daniel Bryan coming back, and of course he's getting involved in the Rey and Dominic Mysterio storyline, so that should be really, really fun. The Street Profits versus Rude and Dolph Ziggler for the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. The challengers beat up Dawkins a bit before Ford takes them down with huge crossbody. Ric Flair was shown watching on the screen with huge smiles after the match. This ended in a kind of smoz as it was. We then get Banks and Bayley contract signing, and Adam Pearce, who's had a lot of TV time recently, oversaw the proceedings. Banks wasted no time signing the contract, but Bayley jabbered on a bit about how the boss was baggage and she was happy to dump. The role model said Banks is angry because she didn't turn on Bayley first, but the boss reminded her at all times she had her back. I mean, this wasn't, fantastic, but it told the story of the reason Bayley's been champion for so long, 365 days, is Sasha Banks. And then we had Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman for the Universal title. This wasn't a bad match. A bit of a surprise that they're taking Braun down before his move to Raw. But still, Uso came out to stage to watch as Reigns hit Strowman with a spear. Reigns told him to come to the ring but wait with a steel chair. He told Uso he doesn't want to hurt him like Strowman, but he hit the big man with a chair a few times. Reigns put the chair down and turned it to give Uso a chance to hit him. His cousin refused, but when Reigns turned it around, he decked him and nailed a super kick, picked up the chair, smashed Reigns across the back a few times. As officials held him back, Reigns popped up and hit a Superman punch. Not only did he do that at the end, but also with the match as well. He made Strowman tap out with a guillotine choke, which you don't really see many tap outs. And again, like I say, with the kind of treatment of Strowman, I don't think he'll be near the Universal title picture any time soon. Obviously, he won't now on Raw, but that is WWE at this moment in time. And it's the same old, same old. We're moving towards Hell in a Cell, where we've got rematches from SummerSlam and Clash of Champions with McIntyre and Orton. Have they really jazzed up the tag team scene enough for the women's title picture? Are we really going to get Lana versus Asuka for the title? And as for the secondary feuds, they continue on SmackDown, of course, with Mysterio and Rollins feud. The Intercontinental title scene will be interesting. Who steps up to Sami Zayn, and what can the Miz and Morrison do on Monday Night Raw as well? It is kind of standard, and it wasn't too bad, but again, nothing to really get excited about, nothing to hit home really. So let's see if we can do any better when we move on to WWE NXT, and of course we had the NXT Takeover event last time out on the podcast, and it was a fantastic main event, of course, between Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. So let's get on with it then with the October 7th edition, and much have been made of Kushida's seemingly newfound, more vicious demeanour, but he faced a tough test against one of the most vicious superstars in NXT history. The bout with Ciampa was every bit as hard hitting as one would imagine. Velveteen Dream cut the battle short though, trying to take out Kushida, the man who defeated him at NXT Takeover. However, he errantly struck Ciampa, instead ending the match by disqualification. Well, NXT resident time split round up, getting the bet with the Dream yet again, pummeling him on the outside of the ring until he retreated. Meanwhile, Ciampa appeared incensed with the result, killing Drain and Drake Maverick are anything but well-oiled machine. They still found a way to claim a victory over Everrise. Drake spent much of the match being beaten down, but in more experience, leaving Maverick in position for the pinfall. Dane still wasn't quite ready to celebrate Maverick with yet another post-match haymaker, but the Beast of Belfast did show some sympathy this time, slinging Drake over his shoulder while heading to the backstage area. And I should say the theme tune for Maverick and Dane is fantastic as well. Austin Theory is making a habit of biting off more than he can chew. All day disposed of Lee and Ruff in short order for issuing another open challenge, only to find returning Dexter Loomis answering the call. Still Theory found a way to seize control for getting himself in trouble with too much grandstanding, giving Loomis an opening to eventually plant with the Uranagi and put him out with silence. Afterwards, Loomis was attacked by Cameron Grimes, who declared he was getting retribution for Loomis not answering him backstage last week. Ridge Holland impressed against fellow Briton Danny Burch emerged victorious after a quick but hard-hitting affair. Fisticuffs continued after the bell, with Burch's tag team partner Owen Lorcan joining the fray to fight back up for his fellow Brit and Baller, getting his own taste of a proper scrap with Holland for good measure. Of course, Ridge Holland laid out Adam Cole at the end of NXT Takeover. We then get Shotzi Blackheart coming away with another win as the host of the upcoming NXT Takeover Halloween Havoc put Zia Lee away after hitting the top rope senton. After Bo arrived to offer Lee an envelope, and Lee appeared as confused as the NXT Universe likely was. Ember Moon may not compete for more than a year, but you never know watching their performance against Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. Of course, teaming up with Rhea Ripley is kind of dream team of sorts. Both had their eyes NXT Women's Championship. Ripley and Gonzalez back to the outside for toppling over the broadcast table, occupying Dakota Kai's attention momentarily. Moon took advantage, hitting their perfect eclipse for the pinfall. It's always great seeing the eclipse there. But we had some injury news from that as well, because we talked about the hard-hit match between O'Reilly and Balor. Of course, what had happened to Ridge Holland. Like we said, both Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor left TakeOver 31 main event rather banged up. In fact, the champion fractured his jaw in 2 places. He had just had surgery on it, and of course after a handful of short reigns with Keith Lee's cut short due to his call-up and then Karen Cross due to injury, NXT is trying to do all they can not to relinquish the title or take it away from Finn Balor. And it looks like we saw a devastating injury reveal from Ridge Holland. The big man was supposed to catch only splash, but his legs buckled, and the injury is not pretty. He dislocated and broke his left ankle while dislocating his patella and tearing the patella tendon right. Maybe they'll do a whodunit with Adam Cole, but unfortunately for Ridge Holland, looks like he just missed his break. But we do move on to the 14th of October edition of NXT. We get number 1 contendership match, the Undisputed Era defeating the Brit and Brawlers, which was a great match to start off. The action was really, really intense, and I love Lorcan and Burch. They need to get the chance, but this time they went the way of course, Rod and Bobby Fish. We get video package hyping Ember Moon and talking about her road to recovery. We get Jake Atlas defeating Ashante the Adonis by pinfall. Following the match, the Legado del Fantasma attacked both Atlas and Adonis, but it's Swerve Scott came out to help them run off with some steel chairs. And the match we're going to watch right now is Austin versus Johnny Gargano. This is going to be a pick from NXT. Austin Theory, a very young man, had a lot of success on the independent scene, of course, Evolve and other places like that. But Johnny Gargano is Mr. NXT. Some nice mat wrestling to start off even. A nice show by Theory, but Gargano grabs a leg and says, "Don't forget, I've got all the experience in the world." Theory telegraphed the move. Gargano had him caught and got him with the chop and then just taken down the arm. Gargano going for the Gargano escape. Theory gets to the ropes. Austin Lowe catches Gargano with a nice back elbow. Johnny managing to reverse it though, went for the chop. Theory realised that was coming, blocked it with a clothesline. Nice standing moonsault. Gargano working the midsection, but Theory manages to turn it round. Nice drop toe hold into the second turnbuckle. On the apron now, rolls in. Nice basement drop kick. Both men now just trading huge shots. Looks like Theory has got the advantage. Picking Gargano up on his shoulders. With Johnny there with the elbows land on the apron. Step up in Seguri's caught. But Johnny managing to avoid that and hit a step up in Seguri himself. Spear through the second. As we go to an advert. Back from the break, and Johnny's got Austin Theory in the abdominal stretch made famous by Wilbur Schneider. Abdominal. Drop toe hold to the second rope. A huge knee to the back. Gargano now calling a shot. But Theory seals it. Picks him up. Tilt-a-whirl slam. And Theory now trying to build momentum. Taking Gargano down. Comes with a foot stomp. Picks him up again. Nice suplex. Trying to build some momentum now. Gargano going for a suplex. But Theory blocking him. Managed to turn it low. Johnny throws him on the apron. spins back in, looking for that drop kick. Gargano went for a super kick, caught by Theory. Both men in the go behind. Gargano nips up, but caught with a huge super kick to the face. A beautiful net breaker there, but no, can't get the job done. Theory coming close. And Theory talking a little bit smack rather than putting Gargano away. And now goes for the super kick. And that may be it, but no, Theory going to put a flourish on it. Looking for the ATL, but Gargano blocking. Gargano now diving cross body, but Theory rolls through. That's some power there. Put Gargano on his shoulders, but Gargano again managed to roll down. Theory drops down on it. Well, it was close, but no cigar. And Austin Theory again, rather than trying to put Gargano away, picks him up. And a huge chop. That's a bit of payback from earlier, but it's not about payback, it's about getting the victory. And Theory now waving to miss Johnny Gargano rather than the actual action. And now both men trading huge right hands. Theory's looked every bit as good as Gargano in this matchup, which is the whole point of it, but gets his leg caught. Now super kick to the face, picking him up, and I think he wants to hurt him. Lawn darts him into the second turnbuckle. And Gargano still wants him up. And a huge shot to the back of the head. And now Gargano taunting Austin Theory. Theory's given a good match, but here comes Johnny. One final beat will get the job done. Gargano looks good, but Austin Theory looked great in defeat as well. We then get no one contendership match. Candice LeRae defeating Shotzi Blackheart. This was a great match as well between the two women. There's something about Shotzi I really like, and Candice is getting better and better each week. Of course, Candice LeRae will now face Io Shirai in 2 weeks of Halloween Havoc. LeRae used brass knuckles to get the win and handed them to Indy Hartwell after the match. We then see Toni Storm making her NXT return, defeating a liar or Nymph. Zia Lee and Boa approached by William Regal back to turn things around. Imperium defeating Drake Maverick and Killian Dane by pinfall. North American Championship match, Damon Priest defeating Dexter Loomis. These two big men gave a little bit, but Priest came out on top. Cameron Grimes interfered and stopped Loomis unbeknownst to Priest, who then took out Grimes post-match. Johnny Gargano then nailed Priest with a steel chair. William Regal then came out to end the show by announcing Gargano will fight Priest for the North American title, and LeRae will fight Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship, but the stakes are dependent upon Shotzi Blackheart's spinner wheel making. Of course, this was very famous for Halloween Havoc back in a day and brought back now for this time. NXT was, I think, a lot better. They're trying to build stars, but again, the injury problems. You know, your NXT champ Finn Balor out. You've got your trouble with Ridge Holland, who you're going to look to try and build a storyline. At the moment, NXT needs consistency, and Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae are the consistency I think NXT need. And we're hoping to bring you NXT Halloween Havoc in just a few weeks. So we move on to NXT UK. So October 1st, and we start off here, NXT UK, and of course the start of the NXT UK Heritage Cup, and Kenny Williams defeating Ashley Smith and Amir Jordan in a triple threat match. He is the final competitor in the UK Heritage Cup tournament. He overcame Ashley Smith and tag partner Amir Jordan, planting with a gigantic tornado DDT. Williams will take on Trent Seven in the first round matchup. We get Jenny defeating Zia Brookside. Jenny is vowed to show an entirely new, more vicious side. Brookside experienced it firsthand. She taps out to the Fantasia. Afterwards, Jenny declares she would make history, declaring herself the Queen of NXT UK. In the main event, Noam Dar's Wolf in the NXT UK Heritage Cup tournament first round match. Pete Dunne served as special guest referee. The Bruiserweight wasn't shy about asserting his authority, though, as it proved pivotal in the match result. The former NXT United Kingdom champ caught Noam Dar using the ropes for extra leverage, using a pinfall attempt in round 5, and punished him accordingly, kicking Dunne's R. Dar responded by looking for the Nova Roll on Dunne, but he instead blasted Alexander Wolf as the Bruiserweight ducked out of the way and had no choice but to count Dar's pinfall on Wolf for the 2-1 victory. Wolf took it, officiating afterwards, screaming at Dunne, attempting to strike him for the exchange blows. The NXT UK champ and Wolf's Imperium leader Walter joined the fray to back Wolf up, but he wasn't the only one. Number one contender Ilya Dragunov also hit the ring for Walter, took a powerbomb Dunne. The Mad Russian helped the Bruiserweight fight off both Imperium members, causing them to retreat. We'll move on to October 8th edition as the UK Cup continues. Now, more on that in a little bit. Our first match was Zia Brookside, Dana Luna versus Lamela and Nina Samuels. It's basically been a handicap match with Luna suplexing Lamela and handing it off to Brookside for a Brookside bomb into a power bomb for the bridging pins and 12. Piper Niven isn't impressed by Kaylee Ray giving us a stake at the women's division tonight, but she will be there Saxon Huxley versus Jack Stars. Saxon Huxley beats Jack Stars in 5 minutes. Basically a powerbomb drop to get the victory. And we get Heritage Cup first round. It's A-Kid versus Flash Morgan Webster. This is into 3 rounds. The winner has to win, obviously 2-1. Great 3 rounds of action here. We're tied up as we go into the 5th round. A Kid smacks him in the face early on. The trade allows strikes to Webster, gets 2 off a Falcon Arrow. Kid is back up with another kick to the head, but Webster headbutts him down. Webster sends Kid outside for a suicide dive, but it's something like rings of Saturn to make Webster tap at 2 minutes 57 and 30 minutes 11 total in the match. 2-1. We get Walter versus Ilya Dragunov for the UK title in 3 weeks, which we hope to bring you here as well. We get Ilya Dragunov's pass to the title. Flash Morgan Webster's been attacked and Mark Andrews runs up to check on him. And we get Kayla Ray to talk about her awesome title reign. Cue the 4 women from tonight's tag match plus Piper Niven. Big brawl breaks out with extra room and Lynn Ray looks to leave, but Jenny catches her near the entrance. She knocks Ray back to ringside and Niven cannonballs onto a bunch of people. IF Valkyrie hits a big dive of her own. Ray leaves to end the show. Edition of NXT UK is the October 15th. Our last NXT UK is the October 15th edition as we start off with Heritage Cup. First round action, Dave Mastiff versus Joseph Connors. Round 1, Dave backs Joseph in the corner for wrist locks and arm ringers. Dave hits an arm drag for Joseph locks and a hammer lock for dodging a sit down splash. Dave then drop kicks Joseph. Round 1 comes to an end. Round 2, Dave runs over Joseph for locking a standard side headlock and dropping in with a shoulder block. Slaps Dave and gets out the ring as the round ends. Round 3, Dave then wins in round 3 by knocking Joseph out with stiff forearm with the referee stoppage and the win. Winner Dave Masters defeats Joseph Connors via referee stoppage. We get an extended video package from former Cruiserweight champion Jordan Devlin, where Jordan declares he is the real Cruiserweight champ and welcomes anyone to come for the real title as we go to commercial. We get Isla Dawn versus Piper Niven. Piper overpowers Isla before Isla takes Piper down to one knee before stomping her hands. She then rocks her with uppercuts for locking her headlock. Piper takes her down to the mat. Isla rolls Piper up for the 2 but manages to get tossed out the ring. She then drop kicks Piper for hitting a running cross body. Hits her with her Insecurity. Isla dodges a running splash in the corner before hitting a dive meter for a near fall. She then locks in the Dragon Sleeve for Piper hits a cannonball in the corner into the Piper driver for the pin and the win. And our main event is Imperium, Walter and Alexander Wolf versus Dragunov and Pete Dunne. Of course, we haven't seen Pete Dunne in a little while. The first one is going to be in the UK tournament as Flash Morgan Webster won't be able to make it. So, Mustache Mountain and, of course, talk about a man in Pete Dunne who's going to be action now against the man that defeated him from the NXT UK title. And all the bad things with COVID, all the things going on, Pete Dunne would not if it wasn't for this horrible situation at the moment. So maybe we can count our blessings. So much history there with Pete Dunne, who looks incredible. Such transformation, saying he's using plants now to kind of get leaner and meaner. And it starts with Alexander Wolf, who had a problem with his officiating. And this will be interesting. Dunne is one of our favourite wrestlers. You can't get bored watching him. He's got the arm. The joint manipulation. And Dunne now running the ropes, looking fantastic. Huge clothesline. Not lost any of his demeanour. And Walter wants in there now. Well, Dunne held the title for over 600 days, but Walter comes in and says, well, I've held it for a little while now. And Walter there with a hip toss, fight it. And these two men going at it right now. It's a sight to see. Of course, in the BT studios as well. Dunne now caught in the wrist lock, trying to get out of it. This is taking Walter down. And now going in for the triangle. Transition to the armbar. Walter's trying to fight the submission. Dunne's got it in hard. And a fantastic exchange from both men there as well. Nia wants to tag. He wants a piece of Walter himself. Dunne saying, what the hell, come on. Nia is the number 1 contender. As Walter takes him down with side headlock. As we go to an advert. And come back, and the action's kicking off. Dunne got the blind tag in as Alexander Wolf's a legal man. The double team move, Aya and Pete Dunne. And now the X-Plex knocks Walter off the apron. Aya off with a senton. Dunne into the cover. No, can't put him down though. And now a huge shot to Dunne's face by Wolf. Walter gets a tag. Chop to Dunne's midsection. German suplex by Wolf. Now Walter going up for the splash. Submission. Trying to joint manipulation. Wolf comes in to break it. But here comes Aya. And now strikes to the side of the head. But Volta managing to fight through. Wolf now got the sleeper. Volta powerbombs Dunne into Aya. And now all four men are down. Incredible action. And now Volta gets caught by the throat, but responds with a step up enziguri. Dunne bringing the fight. Dives over the top Aya with a tag. Moonsault onto Wolf. Dunne takes him out. Aya up. Volta's halfway across the ring. Oh, went for the coast to coast, but got caught with a chop. Powerbomb into the cover. 1, 2. No. Dunne managing to stop him. Here comes Wolf. Again, Pete dodges out of the way. And now Wolf with a German suplex to Aya. 1, 2. No, Aya managing to get out of it. Maybe the momentum of Volta's body there cost him. And you can see the redness of the chest. We've got the Austrian and the German here in the UK fighting over the top prize in NXT in just a couple of weeks' time. And Volta is just taking them apart and saying, you're not in my league. Talk about the old lion, the young lion, and the huge chop. Oh my God. The chops are like gunshots. But Aya somehow fighting it. Oh, slap to the face, but a clothesline from Aya. And Wolf in to stop it. And now he's caught with fingers. You talk about joint manipulation. No, Wolf manages to stop it. Got him up in a powerbomb. Dunne stops it though. Bitter end. Volta with a huge boot to the face taking Dunne out. But Aya, huge step up kick trying to pick Volta up. He's fighting it. And another chop. And that chest. That chest is red raw. And now a sleeper. Here grabs the hand of Volta though. And just the sounds of the shots. And now knees to the midsection. And he's got him up in a gotch lift suplex. Dumps him down. And now Dragunov giving a once in a lifetime performance here. You just imagine if there was a crowd here, they're going crazy. But he's looking for his finisher. Wolf's got hold of the leg. And now Dunne finally got the finger. Oh! And you heard the click. Wolf taken down. He went for the torpedo Moscow. Caught in a sleeper. Huge chop to the back. Back suplex. He landed on his head. Torpedo Moscow hits low. And he pins the NXT UK champion. The first time Volta's been pinned since Survivor Series last year. Aya gets a victory against Dunne. Dunne looked great in this one. A really entertaining matchup. Didn't stop anytime soon. You talk about the old line, the young line. Dunne, the former champ, watching on as the man who beat him, had just been beaten by the guy he's teamed with. It's a great bit of storytelling. Can Aya Dragunov get the job done in a couple of weeks' time? Pete Dunne seems impressed. Great by NXT UK. I think it's been the best thing so far that we've seen. Alright, so let's move on to AEW Dynamite then. And it is the 7th of October. We'll celebrate 30 years of Chris Jericho in wrestling. The show opened with montage of AEW roster members sharing their personal favourite Chris Jericho moments. We've got Jim Ross, Excalibur, Tony Schiavone on commentary. Taz and Absolute Ricky Starks joined the broadcast booth at the beginning of the show, kicking things off an FTW Championship match defended for the first time on Dynamite, the Machine Brian Cage versus Will Hobbs. It started with a slugfest. Cage took Hobbs off his feet with back elbow, but Hobbs got right back up. He then connects with a cross-body block. Hobbs presses 475 pounds in Ross. Cage kicks Hobbs in the face, but it didn't go in the cover. He did a standard moonsault, but Hobbs kicked out. Look at the explosiveness and the hip of Cage, said Taz. Cage went in for a headlock, but Hobbs countered with a backdrop. Hobbs followed with 2 consecutive clotheslines and a shoulder tackle. He pounced on Cage for a near fall. It was reminiscent of the late great Buzz Sawyer, said Jim Ross. Hobbs ducked a disc lariat and used the last will and testament spinebuster on Cage for a near fall. He then went for top rope fog splash, but Cage moved out of the way. He then finished off Hobbs with a drill claw for the pin. Taz got the microphone, said Hobbs was impressive. Starks jumped in the ring. Taz said Hobbs has 2 options. Option A, be part of Team Taz. Option B, you say no to Option A and Starks and Cage will beat the hell out of you. What's it going to be? Darby Allin's music hit and he came to the ring with a skateboard. Starks and Cage left and Taz said Darby would live to it. Time for a brush with greatness. 20-minute time limit. AEW World Tag Team Champions FTR, Cash Win and Dax Harwood versus TH2, Angelico and Jack Evans. We see FTR experiencing serious tandem offense to change the momentum of the match. Again, Jim Ross was very impressed with TH2's resiliency. In fact, perhaps FTR took them to it. Evans hit a flipping axe kick on Dax, but Dax ploughed through with a lariat and then a tiger driver, but Evans still got the shoulder up. Dax suplexed Evans and then Cash followed with a splash on the top, and it was good enough to pin. The Bucks were shown again backstage in the match, and the monitors, the cameraman filming him, was then super. Best friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent, walked out talking FTR. They were wearing shirts that featured them dressed as hot dogs. As comedy backyards wrestlers, we're trying to say is that you guys are weenies. But that's not the joke, that we are the number one contenders. We see Lars Ulrich and Metallica, Gene Simmons a kiss, Don Callis, Shaq and Diamond Dallas Page off, and their congratulations to Chris Jericho. And then the TNT champion Exalted One, Mr. Brody Lee versus Cody Rhodes for the TNT Championship. This was an incredible match. This is half back to the days of Roddy Piper versus Greg Valentine at Starrcade. The sheer brute force of it was quite easy to tell as well. Cody was TNT champion, maybe pushed himself too far week in, week out. And Brody Lee, Mr. Brody Lee, who came in after everybody said, oh, don't know what he can do. He's made the Dark Order one of the most, fun things and best things in wrestling at this moment in time. Destroyed him in 3 minutes. And then Cody returned with a different look, different style, and said, let's do this in a dog collar. And the brutality, putting through the barricade at ringside, and everything they did with the kind of movement, with Cody bleeding as well. I think Cody winning was the right result. I think winning it showed that especially with the kind of chain wrap around the face and hitting the crossroads, it was a good finish. Brody, I don't think loses anything because he has beaten Cody, and maybe I think he can move on to something bigger and better as well. We see Kenny Omega being interviewed saying he was going to stake his claim for the AEW World Championship, and then we see Big Swole versus Serena Deeb. Big Swole lined up several clotheslines, then blasted Deeb with a headbutt. She swiped at roundhouse kick. Swole missed a rolling elbow, but charged to win an uppercut. She then hit a headbutt, and then followed rolling elbow, this time pinning her. We then see AEW World Champion Jon Moxley sitting at a bar. One does not simply beat Lance Archer, one survives him. What happens October 14th, Lance? Maybe you win, maybe I win. I've got a lot of regrets in my life, but laying down in the ring for you ain't one of them. Like you said, Lance, every day, everybody dies. And then we get Luther and Serpentico versus the Inner Circle's Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. This wasn't a bad match. Luther grabbed Jericho by the heart, smashed his head into the mat from the top rope. He ducked the Judas effect to caught Jericho a German suplex. Jericho got caught with knees from the top and then hit a baseball. He called for his baseball bat and Sammy tossed it Jericho, but Luther caught it instead. He swung it. Jericho zapped him while the referee was distracted. Sammy Guevara jumps in the ring apron. Luther turns to look at Sammy, and while Luther was preoccupied, Jericho dropped Luther with a Jesus effect and pinned him. He then took the microphone before he could make any type of speech. MGF's music played. He came to think he wasn't here to steal the limelight. He was here because he respected Jericho and wanted to help him celebrate. He then instructed Warlord to remove a sheet with a surprise. Under the sheet was a clown. And the clown was holding a gift. He told Jericho that next week he's going to make a career-defining announcement. Jericho unwrapped the gift from MJF and it was a framed photo of him. Jericho smashed the framed photo over the clown's head and then clobbered the clown with the Judas effect. He then told MJF he hates clowns and he hates being interrupted. Jericho paused and then him and MJF smiled at one another and laughed. That was it for Chris Jericho. Again, not a bad show. We move on though to the 14th of October and it was the anniversary show. Every title were on the line here tonight. We had the FTR versus Best Friends for the AEW Tag Team Championships. This again was a fantastic match. Best Friends have really impressed me at times. There's talk about the comedy character, but like I said, the fight they had recently was just an unbelievable match that we covered. And with Trent, there's definitely something there. There's definitely a character. The FTR are building up at this moment and say, can you brush your greatness? Can you get the job done? And it looked like Best Friends might have it at some points, but Cash Wheeler now Chuck Taylor from behind with a title belt. Howard pins him for the win. We then see Miro and jumping Best Friends after into bumping into the video game during the match, and it's Miro and Kip Sabian versus Sean Maluta and Lee Johnson. I mean, this was a squash match really. Miro making Muta easily tap out. After the match, he tells the good Best Friends that it's game over. Lance Archer jumps Jon Moxley backstage before he's separated by officials. Out comes MGF. He's accomplished more at 23 than he has in his entire life. He doesn't blame him and he brings out Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle comes out. He takes a shot at the jackets from the Inner Circle Sammy isn't wearing his and Jericho orders him to wear it. It's too big for Sammy. MJF talks about Jericho's body and calls him a genetic freak and his hair is lush. Jericho then tells MJF to cut the shit and talk about his groundbreaking proclamation. MJF calls Jericho, the two of them, the biggest draws in AEW. And he says that how about they work together? What about MJF joining the Inner Circle? Chris Jericho says he needs time to deliberate. Next week he suggests MJF go one-on-one for a steak dinner. MJF's Jericho is on. Then we can get Cody versus Orange Cassidy. So we've seen last week with Cody being ever so aggressive, and Cassidy is just the opposite of that. So nonplussed as he's standing there. Well, we see Orange Cassidy with his normal stuff, and, you know, Cody getting a little bit frustrated with it. You can see it in his eyes that he's not really happy by what Cassidy is doing and wants to teach him maybe a little bit of a lesson. So this is that we're seeing here as well. Orange Cassidy is Cassidy, and I think that's why it might get under people's skin, but he tries to fight him off as it was and make a comeback with the kicks, which doesn't impress Cody much. And you can see the Dark Order coming out to try and interfere as well, which Cassidy didn't want any of that. Both men trading fantastic moves towards the end. Crossroads reversed. Of course, Orange Cassidy with a stun. Cody with the Cody Cutter. Now both men trading towards the end. Cassidy a few strikes, goes for the orange punch, but gets stopped by Cody. Cody working the leg as well. And a beautiful disaster. Still can't put OJ as well. Cassidy's had his leg worked on the majority of the match. And just when it looks like Cassidy's going to win it with the inside cradle, the time limit expires. Up next, Lance Archer and Jake Roberts interview backstage for Moxley attacks Archer. Scooty has to get involved. Matt Hardy's interview ringside said he feels perfect. He's proud of AEW's success. He said after tonight it's clear to return to the ring. And as he says in a vignette of Sammy burning photos of Matt appears, you say you send Matt to the hospital every time he gets cleared, and he'll keep doing it until he's home for good. Private Party versus John Silver and Alex Reynolds versus Butcher the Blade versus Young Bucks. The winners face FTR at Full Gear. The teams roundly picked on tonight's show and headed to the ring where a brawl broke out. Young Bucks superkicked pretty much all their opponents through this segment. Hikaru Ishida versus Big Swole for the AEW Women's Championship. A really hard-hitting affair from both women. Of course, with Britt Baker coming back as well, there's some excitement about the women's division finally. Shida retains with a Michinoku driver. We then see Sean Spears and Scorpion Sky's video package. And then the main event, John Moxley defeating Lance Archer with a roll-up as Archer is pinning Moxley after the blackout. I mean, again, it's been treated like a monster, don't get me wrong, but I mean, Moxley, I think, has moved on because after the match, Archer big boots Moxley and Lucha Brothers jump him. Eddie Kingston helps Moxley to his feet. He pays respect to him for giving a backhand and a sleeper. He then takes the title belt and says that everything he fights for was stolen from him and he's going to get it back. So it looks like Eddie Kingston is next in line for an AEW championship opportunity. Up next, it's the ratings. How did they get on? Well, gotta say, AEW won outright there. 826,000 viewers in its 2-hour broadcast, with NXT just getting 651,000. Well, we'll move on now to Impact Wrestling, and Impact Wrestling issued the following press release announcing a new partnership with Premier Sports, which will broadcast promotions program to United Kingdom and Ireland. Started on the October 6th. It started off with a 3-hour presentation of Victory Road, headlined by the bitter rematch between Eddie Edwards and the man who ripped away his world title, Eric Young. And that was Premier Sports 2. And then you had Free Sports airing at 10 p.m. Impact Wrestling, just hours after it takes place. And Premier Sports 1 will be television destination for Bound for Glory live at 1 a.m. This is a fantastic move for Impact Wrestling. I've been wondering about this for a long time. Of course, WWE here with Sky and then BT now, of course, AEW and ITV, and Premier Sports, who do have a few football. They've got Spanish. I do have a subscription to it anyway, and this is just kind of added bonus where I don't have to pay £20 for Fight TV. I can watch it live at 1 a.m. Keep watching Impact and Victory Road. So talk about Victory Road. Let's just have a look at the quick results. We had the Rascals defeating Triple XL. Brian Myers defeating Tommy Dreamer with a running clothesline in 10 minutes. X Division Championship match. Willie Mack defeating Rojit Ryu via count out, but again, Rojit still X Division champion. Tenille Dashford defeats Jordan Grace with a spotlight kick. It's great to see the former Emma back. Heath and Rhino defeating Reno Scum in quite an entertaining match actually. Free-for-all match as well. We had Ace Austin, Madman Fulton versus Anderson, Gallows versus Shelley Sabre versus Alexander, with Josh Alexander defeating Alex Shelley with a double underhook pile driver. The women's title on the line, Perutsu retaining against Kimberly, and then the Impact World Heavyweight Championship, Eric Young defeating Eddie Edwards with a knee bar. So let's just have a look at the last episode of Impact Wrestling. Of course, it was October 13th, and there was a lot of stuff about the wedding in this one. There's no doubt about that. You had Valkyrie and Rosemary defeating Stills and Hogan and Havoc and Navia. Crazy Steve upsetting Fallow Bar with the roll-up. The 10-person tag team matchup. Heath, Rhino Edwards, Cousin Jake and Alex defeating Dreamer, Myers, Dashwood, Dina and Swinger. You had Kylie Ray defeating Kimberly. Gallows defeating Fulton and beating the shit out of him. And then the question, Rich Swann be cleared for Bound for Glory. Of course, Bound for Glory coming up again. Hope to bring it to you around the same time as Halloween Havoc. And of course, Ia versus Volta for the NXT UK Championship. Eric Young made his way to the ring. The world-class Marman cut a promo demanding to know the status of Rich Swann in a scheduled match at Bound for Glory. After receiving a call, Scott D'Amore made his way to the ring. Young told him he'd give Swann the easy way out, and he didn't take it. The EVP of Impact was also just the smug Young. D'Amore said that Swann suffered additional substantial damage to the leg. Young demanded Superior deem his foal unfit to compete. D'Amore cut an impassioned promo claiming Young lost sight on who he was supposed to be. Swan's surgeon confirmed the damage but said that Swann is a special type of athlete and will compete at Bound for Glory. I hope he knocks that smug look off your face, he says. Young snapped, attacking his former team Canada compadre. He trapped him on an ankle lock, and here comes Swann now. And that is a beautiful handspring cutter to Eric Young, and Eric Young getting the hell out of the way. Well, Eric Young is shocked that Rich Swann wants the World Heavyweight title in Impact. And yes, that is the man from the CWC who's come through a lot of controversies. Rich Swann looks like he's going to be 100% leading to Bound for Glory. And here comes Moose. We've gone to backstage, and I think he's found EC3. Of course, EC3 threw the Impact, the TNA World title off the bridge. Seeing a verbal back and forth, and it gave way to EC3 corners rival, a laughing stock. He laid the TNA Championship down and cleverly dared Moose to cross the line. Well, they brawled on an underclosed bridge until Moose struck the rail. I wanted so much to have to fight in my life for this, EC3 said, as he held the TNA title. It'd be so funny if it wasn't so sad. Moose recovered an attack from behind, punching away at EC3 and busting him open. England Patriot walked off with his title, leaving EC3 laughing to close out the show. I mean, the stuff with EC3 and Moose continues to be the most interesting stories on the show, if only because it somehow seems both beneath the return anti-hero and perfectly suits him. The more serious turn from Moose was much needed and sets up a big, undisclosed location match between the two of them for October 24th. Alright, so we're going to finish on some news. And first off, a news story that is not great. And Alberto Del Rio could be facing life in prison. It's no secret that he's been out of control these past few years. Of course, when we've been covering the story with Paige. Back in May, he was charged with sexual assault and aggravated kidnapping. The aggravated kidnapping was primary charge, and now it's reported it's set to be arrested. He's convicted in the first degree and faced life in prison. The sentence could bring it 5 to 99 years of life in prison. Additionally, he could face a fine up to $10,000. The press release said 2 men indicted from separate sexual offences, and they are charged. I mean, the original report was quite disturbing. The victim said they were assaulted her and forced to put on a dress and dance for him. The report states he bound and gagged her and sexually assaulted her for several. Some people do lose the plot out of the limelight, I suppose, and then move on to a little bit happier of arrivals. And it seems that WWE have signed Benjamin Carter. We saw him on AEW Dark, really impressing us. And AEW were interested in signing him and also appear for Impact Wrestling. But during the Twitch stream, Miro said that Carter has joined the Dark Side before wishing him good luck. We can only assume that the Dark Side is WWE. So hopefully more on that news. And our WNR follower of the week is, it can only be one man, can't it? It is Jimmy Evans, at Jimmy Evans for real. You are the WNR follower of the week. You can pick something for us to watch on the cast. And speaking of the podcast, like we said, it was awful with Jamie, and of course the news that we wouldn't be able to do it. But we are looking forward to having a lot of fun coming up on the podcast, and in the next couple of weeks, the Select Match podcast will be joining us for not only a Halloween special, but to review Hell in the Cell. And then, of course, the Chokeslam report will be back for AEW at the start of November. Of course, Jaxie Scarlett with Survivor Series, as well. So a lot to come in our podcast. But don't forget, across all social media platforms, I'm at the WNR Podcast. The WNR Podcast on Twitter, WNRJR, across all the Google platforms. Send us an email to WNRpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The WNR Podcast, where the podcast got at the same time on YouTube and the other places like SoundCloud on your phone, also Stitcher Radio and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.